Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California with UBN Radio TV, Universal Broadcasting Network, and then every Thursday at 7, Saturday at 6 on my syndicated CNBC, NBC News Radio channel KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere splattering more hope and happiness on you, because this is a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, even though that's taped here, and no K words, no Kardashian talk at all, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And if you missed any of my past interviews with fabulous guests like New York Times bestselling author Neil Donald Walsh, Marianne Williamson to Marianne from Gilligan's Island, Dawn Wells, Potsy from Happy Days, Anson Williams, Bob Proctor and Lisa Nichols, other teachers from The Secret, including my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, who's the one that dubbed me the Asian Oprah. Please go and free subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can watch those. My guest today is a symbol of hope and happiness. She's been a sister and a boss of mine at the Agape International Spiritual Center. She's a daughter and granddaughter of practitioners in the New Thought, ageless wisdom tradition of spirituality, and has literally been on her spiritual path since childhood. After graduating from USC with a degree in political science, Karen soon became a lobbyist for the city of LA, where she influenced state legislation, an experience that nourished her humanitarian zeal to positively impact the larger community and society as a whole. Karen became the wife and CAO of one of the most well-known motivational speakers, John W. Alston. I didn't know that until I did the research, until he passed away in 2011. Her newly released book, 10 Principles for a Life Worth Living, is her tribute to their mutual commitment and work of assisting individuals in actualizing their calling in life, grounded in immutable spiritual principles and practices. Today, Karen serves on the Agape International Spiritual Center Board of Trustees and is my annual boss as the mastermind behind Agape's annual Revelation Conference that we just had. Please welcome to the studio, Karen Mills-Alston.
Thank you.
Yay! So I have a friend. She does not have an answering machine. Mm-hmm. She has a questioning machine. And when you call her, it says, "Who are you and what do you want?" So, Karen, who are you and what do you want?
Well, you know, these days I am a full-time spiritual practitioner, which means that I sit with clients. And a practitioner is akin to a therapist. Okay. The difference is that everything is based in spiritual principles, the truth of who and what we are. And when a client sits before me, I know that that person is already whole, perfect, and complete, and I get to remind them of that and hold that for them until they get to know it for themselves. Mm-hmm. Yes. What was the second question?
So, and what do you want? But I just wanted to piggyback on that. The shortcut that I figured out on the difference between practitioners and therapists is there's a what's wrong with you
Absolutely.
In therapy, like let's find out what's wrong with you and fix it. Whereas a practitioner holds what's right with you.
Yes.
And the easiest way to get to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful distinction, and you do it beautifully.
Thank you.
Yes. So what do you want? You've been I know you want everybody to use this book for sure, but what else, like what next after the book?
Well, there's nothing that I want because I have everything that I need.
Okay, good.
So I'm guided and directed in all of this. So I'm listening from my heart space always and being guided and directed by spirit, by love, by kindness, by beauty, all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
So what that means is that I have surrendered. It's no longer what I want. It's what my higher self wants and desires, and the book talks about living a life purposefully. We're all here at this particular time to give of our gifts and talents.
Yeah.
So we get to discover them and give them to the world.
So I'm going to pretend that I'm a listener who doesn't believe in anything that I can't see and has had maybe a negative experience growing up with religion, which I'm sure you come across a lot, people like that, even though you didn't grow up like that.
Yes.
What would you say is the best thing to open a heart like that up?
To remind them that there's something within, even if it's a little mustard seed that has never been hurt, harmed, or endangered. And that is what our higher power wants us to allow to emerge. So, that's it right there.
Yeah.
So that, and also, folks have issues with certain words.
Yeah.
So when I sit with someone, I may not use God or higher power, but I can use love and beauty and creativity and something that they can really tap into that relates to who they are.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. The G-bomb sometimes does get people off track and brings up, the guy that needs anger management classes
Right.
or Santa Claus.
Right.
So spirituality for those who are new to that term too, how would you define that? You didn't know you were going to do a class in 101, did you?
No, I didn't.
Because I apologize.
I did.
But it
That's
just
okay.
feels like,
Yeah.
Because I do have a wide variety and I do have some listeners go, man, you're so woo-woo. And I think I'm not woo-woo, like I'm a
Right.
reluctant woo-woo.
Right,
But I think if we can break it down so that people get why this is so awesome.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So-
And I want to pull out my notebook.
Oh,
because
yes.
Reverend Michael said something very interesting in class just the other day.
There you go. Just in time for this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And he talked about that the paradigm is shifting at this point, that we're here to bring heaven on earth. So when we talk about God and we talk about this, most people think about this man in the sky.
Right.
But that's not who I believe God is. I believe that God is, as Joel Goldsmith says, the great mystic, he said that God is the infinite invisible. So it's something that we cannot see or touch on a human level.
Right.
It's something that we get to feel. So I would invite people to begin to feel what love feels like in their body temple. That's the presence of God. When someone, and I know that you've had this experience, you've had the experience of meeting someone for the first time and feeling a connection at your soul.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the presence.
We're not talking about
right
lust
there.
either.
Yeah,
We're
right,
talking
right.
about
we're talking about this
Well.
connection. Yeah, it could be.
Sorry, I did go there.
We're talking about this connection, and it's a connection with spirit that we cannot even identify. So when I talk about being in the rhythm and the flow of spirit, of God, of a higher power, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about being in love with being in love. So practicing that.
Right.
Yeah,
It brings the feeling that you get when someone hugs you.
Yes.
Or the feeling that you get when a child smiles at you.
Yes,
Or,
absolutely.
Or,
That's it.
Yeah. And if you've had, everybody's had that feeling at one point. And even if you have a problem with the G word, know that that feeling is a connection with an energy that is bigger than you.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
and it's a good thing.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a good thing, and that one of the affirmations that we use at Agape is "I'm more than this." So to be able to let go and to allow and to know that there is something more
Yeah.
than just our identification of ourselves. So there's something more
Right,
than that,
right.
and to be able to lean into that.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's really important for me to trust because I'm living in this world.
Yes.
And this world can be daunting sometimes. And to move through it and not have something that I get to fall into, that I get to lean into, that I get to trust. And I get to trust that presence.
Yes.
I don't get to trust man or woman. I get to trust this thing that I call God.
Right,
Yes.
right. That is trustworthy.
Yes, that is
when
trustworthy.
humankind is not necessarily kind.
Yes.
And even though we do the best that we can.
Yes.
So have you always had this? Was there, I know you grew up in a home where a lot of practitioners, did you ever come home and want to just be like complaining or whiny
yes.
and say, why are my parents telling me I can't do that?
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm human.
Right.
And I probably did it just the other day too.
Oh.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. It. But I'm, as Reverend Kathleen McNamara says, I'm waking up faster. So I might have, at a point in time, done a lot of why me thing. I might have been there. And I might have stayed there for weeks on end.
Right. Well, your husband died. I mean,
Yes,
I
yes.
mean that's like kind of a big deal,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry for your loss. And at the same time, I know not to say that but it's the thing to say.
Right.
But I know where he is. He's with my dad and
Yes,
loving you in a
yes,
way that he
absolutely.
couldn't love here even more magnificently.
Yes, yes.
But tell me about him too. Like I mean that whole experience. You
Well, he was diagnosed with a condition that John McCain has, that Ted Kennedy had, that Johnny Cochran had, that Jim Novak had.
Wow.
Yeah. So he had a brain tumor, and it was daunting to hear that because he
Yes.
was someone who. He continues to be a brilliant person.
Yes.
He wrote books. He spoke all over the world.
Right.
He was
a motivator.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was very much, and he would say that he's not a motivator. He's an inspirer. So he's an inspiration to folks.
Okay.
Which means that he was able to give people tools to live their lives. And so that's why 10 Principles for a Life Worth Living is very important for me.
Yes.
So even with that, in fact, 10 years ago, in a few months, he was diagnosed. And we went through surgeries. We went through three months in the hospital at one time. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was really crazy.
Yeah, tough.
I had the opportunity to really practice what I preach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the practices I had, because the surgery left him weak on one side, he was not the John that I knew any longer.
Right.
So I spent 2.5 years with caregivers as well. But the first year, I did it all on my own, taking care of him. My brother-in-law helped me out. My family members came in and they helped me out. But when he was yelling in the middle of the night because he was moving through this, I had to really learn how to be loving and kind. So one of the practices I had, and that's
It's
why I
in the
love
book,
this
right?
book.
Yes.
This practice isn't in the book because it's very personal.
Oh.
But the book is about developing practices and actually using the practices that get you through tough times. So one of the practices I had was to pretend that I had a microphone on me and a camera on me so that I always got to be loving and kind to him.
Oh.
So I was always joy-filled. I was always, no matter what was going on in the room, I always acted as if I was the shining example of unconditional love.
Now, I'm going to be,
Yeah.
you know, dark angel's advocate
Yes.
and say, isn't that fake though when you're not feeling that, when you're feeling angry or sad or why me?
Yes.
To express yourself in a way that you're not.
Yes. So that was my practice. And when I was not with him, there was a time for me to see a practitioner where I
Okay.
sat with a practitioner and I got out the anger that I may have accumulated, because I accumulated anger. My husband was passing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the doctor
Yeah.
said my husband
Yeah.
was, and I was a newly licensed practitioner at that point, and I thought that I was going to heal him.
Oh.
And what Reverend Coco said to me was that we made an agreement before we came on this earth plane, John and I did. And part of that agreement was to support him in this particular time.
Wow.
So even though, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So even though I was going through that, I made sure that I took care of myself.
Okay.
So I went out and I made sure that my hair was done. I got my nails done. I mean, it was just such a, I would go out for a couple of hours at a time and then come back. But there was a time when I couldn't do that, and I had to make arrangements for him to have the support that he needed.
Yeah, yeah.
But I still had to take care of myself.
So if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who I'm talking to today in studio, it's Karen Mills-Alston, and she's giving us really great applicable, if you're going and watching someone go through pain right now, or someone dying, or someone that's ill, and you're not in a good place, you want to pick up this book because it's filled with different application practices, so that it's not about being fake, but it's about choosing the time and place,
Yes,
and the
absolutely.
support and the kind of support that you need, so that you can still be of the best service to those
Yes.
that are making the transition or in the illness. And
Absolutely.
and I thank you for clarifying that, because
Yes.
I want to be the best that I can be, but there are times when I just am not.
Yes, and
And
it happens. It happens for all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be okay with that, and just pick a time and a place to not be the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Absolutely.
absolutely.
So give me
So one of the first principles,
Yes.
the first principle in that book, is to wake up in gratitude.
thank you.
Yes. So, and I know that you do that.
Yes, I do.
So the book is about identifying. I have some quotes in there.
Yep.
From Reverend Michael, from
I
John,
saw
from
Barack
Goldsmith.
Obama,
Right.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle
I
Obama,
saw.
absolutely.
Yep.
So her quote is, and we all remember this: when they go low, we go high.
High.
Yes, absolutely. So the idea of waking up in the morning is just that: waking up in the morning, even before we open up our eyes. That and Reverend Michael has said this: you woke up this morning, so your mission is not over. John used to say, "You woke up this morning, so you have begun. You're still in the game." So waking up in the morning without a checklist. We usually wake up with a to-do list that says, "Okay, so today, what day is this? Oh, it's Tuesday.
Right.
It's Wednesday, and I have to do this, 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 and that."
Right.
So instead of doing that, a practice is, because that takes us down that rabbit hole.
Right.
It gets us in the day before we even begin it. So the practice is to remember that we woke up, that we're sleeping in a bed, that we have covers that have kept us warm, that we can feel our body temple, that we can get out of bed,
Yes.
stand up, and walk, that we're breathing, that our heart is beating, all of that stuff.
Right.
Yes.
We didn't have to control the digestion system in
Right.
the evening,
Yes.
or the sleep
Absolutely.
patterns. It all did
It's
it for
all-
itself.
it's
right.
all done
Planets
for
are
us.
still there.
Yes.
Nobody slingshotted out of the universe.
Yes.
so
So to be grateful for those
Yep.
things, really very, very important. So if we could stay in that place for maybe about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we begin our day.
And I can absolutely attest that I started doing that 4 years ago, and it's been an incredible incredible 4 years.
Yes.
You've watched it.
Yes.
It's like what?
Right.
And that was one of the practices.
Yes.
I was actually encouraged to do that. Wayne Dyer says 5. I'm an overachiever, so
Yeah.
I say 8.
Yes.
8 is a lucky number in Chinese, a homonym for good fortune. So I always start with 8.
Yes.
And I do them out loud.
Yes.
On my wall.
And there you go. That's a great thing to do. So we get to say things out loud so that we can hear them, so that we can feel them, so that we can really take them in.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's okay to do things silently, but to really allow that vibration to move through our body temple and to feel it, saying it out loud is really important.
Yeah.
Now, the neat thing about gratitude is that we don't just get to do it in the morning. When we develop a practice, we can do it throughout our day.
Right.
So when we're sitting in traffic and we're thinking, oh my God, we get to say, I'm grateful I'm in this car.
Right,
I'm grateful that I have gas in the car.
Yes.
I'm grateful that I'm pointed in the right direction.
Yes, I'm grateful we both have Jaguars.
Yes. Mine's in the shop right now. I have a great mechanic for you.
Oh, there
okay?
you go. There
Yes.
you go. I locked my keys in the trunk the other day, so I found out that there's a reason why it's called a valet key.
Yes,
you can't open
absolutely.
the trunk.
Yes, yes,
so.
yes.
But
The
anyway,
things you learn.
Yes, yes. I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. That's
Yes.
a great expression.
Yes,
I'm sure that's
absolutely.
in there too.
Yes, and that's something. I've taken these practices because I'm at Agape 3 services every Sunday, service on Wednesday. So there are things that I have heard through Reverend Michael. I studied Joel Goldsmith, the great mystic, for 3 years, taking classes with Reverend Coco. John was my greatest teacher. I mean, he really began
How
this
long were you
for me.
married?
We were married for like 25 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
looks so young in the
Yeah,
pictures.
I
Wow.
know, I know.
Yeah.
You know what they say about black people. I'll
The
say it.
same thing about
For Asians,
Chinese
yes,
people.
yes.
Yeah. that we look
Absolutely.
10 to 15 years younger until
Yes.
we hit 70 and we go directly to 95. Is that what they say? Is that what they say about Asians? I don't know about black, but I'm ageless. We're breaking
Yes.
that little
Yeah,
paradigm.
and that's what it is. That's the beauty of being in these mystical teachings.
Yes.
Is that we are breaking the mold of everything. So we are no longer walking in lockstep with the world
Yeah.
about what certain ages look like. We get to create
Make it
something
up.
new. We
Yeah.
get to make it up.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. And we have this great teacher in Michael Bernard Beckwith who is setting this standard for us and letting us see what it all looks like, including
Peace in, peace out, Michael.
Yes, including waking up in the morning in gratitude, including have a meditation practice, including having some kind of movement in our body temple every single day, including what we're putting into our body temple. So it's all about serving ourselves, serving the world in a highway, in a highway.
And that's I want to piggyback on that point because people these days throw up their hands, especially if they turn on the news first thing in the morning. The world's going to hell in the handbasket. I can't change anything. Might as well not try. I can't, all this is done to me. I can't make I can't make a difference. And the book tells you what you can do.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And there is so much that we can do. You just do something every day, meditate, gratitude, see the best.
Yes.
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 Absolutely.
And so let me do a practical on that one. So let's say you see 2 people who I'll just go to one. Let's say there's a person that you know, and you kind of have to work with them. You kind of have to have like a daily or a weekly interaction. So you can't just, detach with love and go away. And just every single time there's an interaction, it is negative, drama, complaining, critical, and you just don't. You can't take it anymore. So what would you advise, or are you going to hold that person in that same they're fabulous too, when every part of you is like, they are not fabulous. There's no, if they were fabulous, they wouldn't be like that. You know, why do they keep doing that? Or why do they keep saying that? And why are they being so caustic to me?
So I always turn within because if I'm feeling that way, it's about me. It's not about
I don't like that
person.
answer.
So there's work for me to do. There's an opportunity for me to grow and expand.
Yes.
That's what this is all about. Because, you know, the teachings is that when I see you, I see the presence. When I see you, I see love. And if I cannot do that for another person, then I get to turn within and do my work. So I go see a practitioner, or I meditate, or I whatever it is. I affirm. Because the teachings of Beckwith and Ernest Holmes and Joel Goldsmith they include that which I want for myself, I want for the other person, because we're one. It's just that simple.
Right. Yeah. You know, I get to talk a lot with my big brother, and I know never to complain about anybody to him, because I aspire to see people the way he does.
Yes.
You know, that to really see the best that they, and I have ways to go, but at least I know I have a model, and you know, and that's the great thing about going to Agape is it's a community that supports that. And the good news is I hear less and less gossip now, because people know not to come.
Yes.
You know, that's
and
a
that's
compliment.
how you know you're doing your work.
Right.
Right. Because they're not bringing that. People bring gossip to you because they want you to take it someplace.
Yes.
They want a reaction out of you.
Yeah.
When you don't give them a reaction, when you say, what good can come out of this? Or you can do something mystical or metaphysical. They don't want to hear that. So they're going to go to the next person who will join them in that agreement. So the more of us, you know, doing this work, Reverend Michael talks about this ripple effect that happens. So when we sit, when we're still, when we affirm, when we don't gossip, when we, there's a principle in the book that is align with the creative power of your word. And one of the reasons I wrote this book was because I was sitting with a client yesterday, a new client. I used to have a practice when I would sit with a new client of giving the client the book, The Four Agreements, because that first agreement, be impeccable with your word, is something that really influenced my life. And so I was sitting with this client, and I reached behind, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to give you my book. Because the principle is really important. It's the practice. So the idea with, you know, it's one of those golden rules. I don't know if it's a golden rule or not.
He who has the most gold rules?
Yeah.
No, not that one?
Not that one.
Oh, okay.
But if you don't have anything good to say about anybody, don't say anything. So this is about being in agreement with, being in alignment with the power of your word. Your word has power, as the Four Agreements says. So that which you give out, you say, it comes back to you.
Yes.
So I want to say about individuals things that I want to come back to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I have one from Dr. David Simon, who was a neurologist who passed, who was Deepak Chopra's partner.
Oh, yes.
And he would say, I ask myself 3 questions before I open my mouth. Is it true? Is it kind?
Yes.
And is it necessary?
Yes.
And if you can't answer yes to all 3, keep your front door shut.
Right.
And I follow that, and it gets me out of trouble because I hate apologizing too. So that helps. and we're going to come right back.
Okay.
We're at the break where we thank the sponsors who have made this show possible. It's all about balance. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Peace in and peace out. Do you feel blocked? Do you want to be more in the flow in every area of your life? Then try Colonics with LaDonna at Universal Flow. Colonics will help you with clear skin, clear thinking, bloating, and cravings. It's an ancient and new thought practice that allows one to reconnect with their true self. Go to www.universalflowinc.com and schedule your first step to a new you today. And We're back. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Garage Studios in Hollywood, California with UBN Radio TV, Universal Broadcasting Network, and then every Thursday at 7, Saturday at 6 on my syndicated CNBC, NBC News Radio channel, KCAA AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere on iHeartRadio. And today's guest is talking about how you can be not just the best you for a moral reason or because it's handy, but it just is something that you really are in the core of who you are. Karen Mills-Alston, who has just written a fabulous book called 10 Principles for a Life Worth Living, a guide for actively and purposefully participating in your life. Karen, welcome back. Thank you. So you were going to point something else out in here, or if not, I was going to just bring up, I really liked and was kind of, reminded that forgiveness, which I'm a big fan of, and the reason why I am even at Agape is because Reverend Michael completely, ruined all of my anger issues and hostility issues and unforgiveness issues towards my mother. Like, he completely destroyed that. And as a result, I have this amazing life that is 88% of the time so like clear and pure and free for all the goodness that there is. But you do say that it's not a one-time thing, and I thought that was a really interesting. Like, what? I thought it was hard the first time. I got to do it again?
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So the principle is be the first to forgive, which I think is really powerful. I took a 3-month course on a book by Paul Ferrini, and he talks in the book that forgiveness is an ongoing process. That until you, and I reference those axioms in my book because I think that they're very powerful.
Yes,
and I've been using them for many years.
Is this
now.
the Hawaiian one?
It's his. It's
okay.
And that's an additional one, the Hawaiian one.
Yeah,
because that's part of a practice. But the idea is to forgive and forgive and forgive until you have forgotten what it is that you had to forgive.
Wow.
So the sting is gone. So if you are still feeling sad or angry or anxious or whatever the words are, when you think about a particular person.
My husband?
Yes.
Yes.
You get to continue to forgive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Over and over.
Over and over and over.
Yeah.
And the idea is, remember, forgiveness is not a divine quality. The divine quality is unconditional love.
Right.
So when you can love that person again unconditionally, that's when you really know that you've forgiven that person.
Yeah, that's a
And
good thing.
it takes practice.
Yeah.
It takes practice. I have found recently that I had forgiven someone years ago, and then this person came to my awareness, and I got triggered, and I thought, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
So I had to begin my forgiveness.
Yeah.
And the Hawaiian one is, and I'm going to augment it because I always do, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. So to be able to practice that,
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Yes.
But there's nothing to forgive. I didn't do anything.
Yes, but it's just, it's just the practice. We're saying it for ourselves, and we're saying it in the collective whole for the other person.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I'm just being funny.
Yeah. No.
But
I know.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
But there really is a catch on that, because I had a caller who just could not forgive her mom. Like, she just did like so many things to her that she just, it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
What do you say to someone that says that?
Well, one of the things that I've been doing with my clients recently is that I ask them to bring that person in the non-physical right in front of them.
As a ghost.
As a ghost,
Okay.
yes, and have a conversation with that person. So whether that person is still on the earth plane or not, to sit that person as a ghost in front of them and say whatever they need to say to them, to get all that stuff off their chest, to cry, to yell, to scream, whatever it is. Because as human beings, we can't carry that anger.
Right.
We've got to let it out.
Right.
And my practice is I no longer let that stuff out when that person is physically in front of me, because that doesn't serve anything. It gets me angry, it gets the other person angry, and then it starts up a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, and it's bad
So,
for your health, too.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But the idea is to get it out and to do it on the non-physical. And you can do that as often as you want to do it until you're complete with it.
Yeah.
Because the mother, for example, has no awareness of what she's done to her child. She has no awareness. And to make that mother aware of it, she may never be aware. So there's no talking that can be done to that mother to say, because the mother did the best that she could do at the time that she was doing it.
Right.
So to go back and want to, and I'm doing air quotes here, fix that,
Yes.
it's impossible.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Right.
So the child that is being triggered, the adult that is being triggered, gets to do that work and clear that energy and love again.
Yeah. It's all about your book, but I just have to interject one thing, that in my book, which aligns with your book,
good.
and we
I'm
want
glad.
both of
'Cause
our
it's truth.
books. It is truth.
Yes.
It's based on the same teaching. You know, the assumption that I grew up with, that there was something wrong with me because I did not have a normal mom and I didn't have a normal experience. Just even that BS, that belief system keeps us all in this damaged place.
Yes, it does.
But when I can transcend that and say, you know what, 7 out of 10 of us come from that kind of a home. How can we be the broken? We're the norm. So there must be some other reason. And what I really believe and affirm now is all pain in life is for our best
You better
chiseling
believe it is.
and development.
Absolutely.
And so if we can turn that, why did that happen to me, to why did that happen for me?
Yes, absolutely.
It really, really changes the whole perspective.
Because it really is a gift. I mean, it doesn't feel like a gift.
Right.
But it's a gift.
Yeah.
So that we usually get gifts from our parents, from our siblings, from our relatives.
Yes.
And these gifts are deep and wide.
We want to re-gift sometimes.
We do.
Definitely.
But how wonderful it is that we keep that gift.
Yes.
And we get to really move through it.
Yeah.
So we get to move through that fear, through that anger. We get to deal with it right on.
Yeah.
I always say this. It's so interesting. We spend 18 years in our house with our parents, and then we spend the rest of our lives, if that's our choice, trying to heal from that. Yeah. But it's just 18 years.
Right.
And so the idea is to stop the blame. The idea is to grow and expand and to do that work that is necessary so that we can do purposefully what we're here to do.
Yeah,
That's why the subtitle of this book is so important to me. And the subtitle just came maybe 2 weeks before I gave it to my publisher, but a guide for actively and purposefully participating in your life.
Yeah.
So there's an activity that has to happen.
Yeah.
There's something that we get to do. We don't sit on our hands. And we certainly don't just meditate. We have to, the old folks used to say, we have to speak and move our feet so we can affirm, and then we have to get up and do something about it.
Inspired action.
Yes, absolutely. And all of this is purposeful.
Yeah.
So the idea that our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, or our brothers gifted us, there's a divine plan behind it. And if we choose to say, okay, I'm going to move through this. Because remember, we're talking about patterns and habits that have been in generations.
Yeah, yeah.
And those of us who have shown up, and maybe some people think that we're weird or odd or something like that, I call ourselves now, we're pioneers.
Yeah.
We're pioneers in life. There are students who are sitting in Prac 1, Prac 2. There are students who are sitting in foundation classes that Reverend Michael teaches, or meditation class that Akili teaches.
That I guess teach at.
Yeah. Oh, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But everybody's weird.
Yeah.
And we applaud the weirdness.
Yeah,
Weirdness.
yeah.
It's important.
Yes.
Because we represent individuals in our family who get to change those things that no longer serve us, and we get to move forward. Yes.
So you just answered my question, which was what's the most difficult thing in this book for people to practice? And I think it is to stop letting things in the past that you're comfortable blaming and excusing yourself for why you don't do something different, and letting that go, and taking your analogy of, it's only 18 years in probably 88 years of life.
Yes.
Why are you letting those 18 years ruin how many versions of another 18 times of your life? Just the same way in my book on Out of Heartbreak into Love, you're going to let one person who broke your heart when you were a teenager in high school ruin every single possible relationship that you could have for the rest of your freaking life? I mean, come on, really? So that same, I'm sure you say it much nicer in your book than I do in my book, but it's the same principle. That if nothing else, I hope that everyone listening gets that there's so much more than what we've been fed to think life is about, than the car and the house and the travel and there's so much more than that. That we are all weird and unique in our talents, gifts, and abilities, and there's so much more to life than what we think.
And we're here, as I said before, to give these gifts and talents away. So to develop them, to heal and to reveal the truth about who and what we are.
Right.
So that we can do what we're here to purposefully do. Otherwise, we stay stuck in the muck and the mire of our humanness, and we don't get to do what we get to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Beautifully said. We're coming up to the end. Where can we buy this? Where can we get it and gift it?
Yes, Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
Yes,
that's easy. And 10 principles. Karen Mills-Alston, get your copy today to gift. And she has kindly donated one for my Asian Oprah giveaway. So the first person to go to my website, the number 4balance.org, fill in the contact and say 10, perfect 10, we'll get that book, and we'll make sure we get it to you, and that way you can enjoy it and give it away, or first use it, because this is a guide. That's it.
So
beautiful.
Let's do it that way.
Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
yes,
That'd be great.
Beautiful.
And then your website, if people want to work with you, is
KarenMillsAlston.com.
That's easy.
ALSTON.
Yeah. This whole time I thought it was something else.
I know.
That's okay. That's why we have guests on the show to correct
absolutely.
myself. My last question is always to my guests: what are you most grateful for, or who are you most grateful to? Because I end my shows with gratitude.
Oh, that's so sweet. I say, and I'm going to read this dedication because I think it's so lovely. This book is dedicated to my parents, Ruby and Billy Mills, for their example of kindness and generosity, to my ascended husband, John, one of my greatest teachers, and to our very precious daughter, Lindsay, who I love and adore more than words can say. So I'm grateful for this, for this lineage that I have come through, and that I'm here now, and I'm awake, and I'm able to do what I'm able to do with my life.
And
Yes.
it is a great thing that you do. And for that, I'm giving you the Dr. Marissa Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award.
Thank you.
Not everybody gets that.
Thank you.
And guess where I got the words from?
Oh, I get it.
But thank you so much for coming in
Wonderful. Thank
studio,
you.
sharing yourself, sharing your heart,
Yes.
sharing your and your tears at the end. I love it when people cry on my show because I know that their heart is open
Yes, yes.
and touched, and that
Yes.
tears are the disinfectant that keep our hearts soft.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Shishya.
Thank you.
Alrighty. We are at the end of the show where I ask you and invite you to step up to my balance bar. Continuing on with today, starts every week with a gift from my upcoming book and a balance tool. The book is called 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. And today's balance tool is from Chapter 8, Out of Control into Happiness, which is also Balance Tip Day 19, which is the 19th today, round 84 on the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa. And the tip is, don't keep going to the tractor for milk. We complain about people, places, and situations that just are. They're not going to change no matter how often we try to change them and no matter how much we complain about them. Acceptance is the balance tool that will take away the negative energy called complaining, also known as nagging. So today, when you're tempted to complain about somebody's inability to be kind, sweet, or loving, maybe they are just a tractor that is incapable of giving milk at this time. So go find a cow. If you would like to join the 21-day Fast from Complaining, sign up on my guest book, the4balance.org. And for less than $1, you can also get that companion app on both platforms made by teenagers, so we can all not complain together. If you would like to work with me on the beach, either learning meditation or a private coaching session for life balance, schedule your free discovery call at 4balance.org. Next week, it is the last week of the month, so we're having another Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa special series because I'm determined to make pleasure a G-rated topic because it's one of the gifts of life. So, is Trump causing more marital strife in your bedroom? My guest, Jonathan Robison, author of More Love and Less Conflict, will be here to give us some advice so that the T word doesn't get in the way. So that is it for today's show. Please do tune in again next week for another scintillating episode of Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.